Welcome back to the 2-Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at the Los Angeles Chargers and in a way reacting to GM of the Chargers, Tom Telesco, stating the statement, "We're drafting players, not positions." Not a huge, bold statement, but it's subtle enough that I think it is worth making a video on and at least talking about because it's always fun to talk about the LA Chargers and Justin Herbert with the draft coming up. But before getting into that topic, question for those of you viewing, especially you Chargers fans. We know who we want to see be drafted in the first round. Dream pick's going to be a Penei Sewell or a Kyle Pitts, but realistically, we're expecting a J.C. Horn, Christian Darrisaw, somewhere around that world, somewhere within that realm. But I want to hear from you guys who you want to see the Chargers take in a second, third round. Those mid-round picks, who do you want to see them target then? Maybe an Asante Samuel Jr. out of FSU in the cornerback position in the second round. Whoever it may be, whatever your thoughts are, let me hear your mid-round predictions and picks for the Chargers. But getting into this topic, like I said, Tom Telesco the Chargers GM was interviewed and stated about the upcoming draft, we're drafting players, not positions. And to me, this screams, when it comes to number 13 overall, Chargers on the clock, this screams we're taking the best player available. Chargers know they have a hole at left tackle. We did a previous video on Brandon Staley stating the words, we understand there's a hole at that position, referring to left tackle. But Tom Telesco made it very clear, and he said another thing, we're thinking long term, we're thinking about the years in 2022, 2023, 2024, and so on. We're not trying to fix up every single thing this entire year. We have a young rookie quarterback, we have a young team relatively, and while we're in a win-now situation in the fact that we can, we're not set in stone on going and giving it all this year and expecting a Super Bowl run. Of course we want to win, but a Super Bowl run, we understand, might not be the most likely outcome this year. So this means, in my opinion, best player available. Christian Darrisaw, he's a good left tackle, and he could turn out to be a great guy for the Chargers if they go that route. But best player available when it comes to 13 might go to other positions, such as people might be thinking of J.C. Horn, a Patrick Surtain if he fell. But to me, this might be saying that the Chargers might be thinking at receivers, a Devontae Smith, a Jalen Waddle. Maybe they'll look at other defensive positions, a Kwity Paye, a Micah Parsons. Anything is on the table when it comes to the best player available route, because we all have our opinions. I have my opinion. You guys have your opinion who the best player available is, but the Chargers have their own opinion. Whoever they think the best player available is going to change a lot. It's not like it's going to be between a Christian Darrisaw and a Tevin Jenkins at number 13, who it's very well understood that Christian Darrisaw is the higher prospect. Not to take anything away from Tevin Jenkins, but it is understood that Christian Darrisaw is a better prospect. But now, when you're looking at several positions, Christian Darrisaw, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, now who do you determine who the best player available is? And like I said, we all have our own opinions. No matter what I think, no matter what you guys think, it is up to Tom Telesco and the Chargers and what they think. I trust them. It's their job to pick the best player. But it's just kind of surprising to me, him coming out and saying that, because I think right now, before this statement, a lot of us might be thinking Chargers, Christian Darrisaw, that's just who's on our mind. We'll take a lucky pick if a Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, or Kyle Pitts falls. We'll jump on it, of course. But being unbiased and being realistic, Christian Darrisaw seems to be the pick for the Chargers. But now, I think, like I said several times, we're going best player available, and that could lead to them possibly going to J.C. Horn. They might have already been looking at that, but if you're determining the strictly better prospect between Darrisaw and Horn, I think it goes to Horn straight prospect-wise. It's kind of comparing apples to oranges, a big 300-pound lineman or a top cornerback. Hard to compare to the two, but pure talent-wise, I do think the edge goes to J.C. Horn. He's been flying up draft boards recently. Just a couple months ago, the cornerback rankings in the NFL draft kind of went Patrick Surtain and Caleb Farley neck and neck. And then J.C. Horn was a well-understood number 3 corner, not to take anything away from him. But it was understood Caleb Farley and Patrick Surtain are ahead of him. But now, fast forward to today, Caleb Farley had a minor back surgery, and now things are changing. Patrick Surtain's holding up number 1. Caleb Farley fell to number 3, and J.C. Horn's in the middle, flying up and actually fighting Patrick Surtain for the number 1 spot now. Being the son of former Pro Bowl Joe Horn, and then Patrick Surtain being the former son of Patrick Surtain. Current Patrick Surtain is Patrick Surtain Jr., so being the son of Patrick Surtain Sr., both these guys have NFL talents to grow up with and learn the game from. Just going to see and going to be up to the team who is the better talent. But like I said, now Chargers fans, we can't count out receivers. Not that it was never a factor we never considered, but now we're considering it even more because there might be a Devontae Smith who might not be more of a necessity than a Christian Darrisaw, but more talent than Christian Darrisaw. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but for Tom Telesco, the GM himself, to say we're drafting players, not positions, that means they're not set on just looking at how can we replace left tackle, how can we replace cornerback, how can we replace pass rusher. They're looking at how can we get the absolute best guy on this team to help us out. And to me, realistically, that's going to look like a J.C. Horn or a Micah Parsons that can really help out a Joey Bosa or help out a Kenneth Murray, a guy that can almost captain this defense. I think Kenneth Murray Jr., Derwin James when healthy, and Joey Bosa, the captain spot goes to one of those three, but that doesn't mean Micah Parsons, a linebacker / edge rusher, whatever you want to call him, can't go in and be an immediate impact and help out this Chargers team in front seven. I'm excited to see how the draft goes. First round prediction, I'm looking, what I want would to be protect Justin Herbert, but long term I understand they could possibly pick up another left tackle in free agency. There's some guys out there, Eric Fisher, he's hurt, but you could get him on a hell of a discount deal to possibly keep him on the depth chart. A Mitchell Schwartz, similar situation. Alejandro Villanueva, it's been expected that he might be a backup plan for the Chargers. He's been talking to the Ravens, but the Chargers offer him a little bit more. Maybe they'll look at signing him, and if they go that route, they have a temporary solution and could pick up a J.C. Horn, who will be a long-term solution for the secondary. And then in the following year, in 2023, you can address left tackle for the long term. But no matter what route they go, Tom Telesco's a smart dude. I like this Chargers team and what they're getting together. I think Brandon Staley's going to have some big influence on who they draft this year. And being a defensive-minded guy, this might be a reason Tom Telesco's saying we're not going after positions, because Brandon Staley being defensive-minded saying the best player available, I agree, we know we need Darrisaw for Herbert, but the best player available is going to be a top cornerback or top linebacker in Micah Parsons or J.C. Horn. But no matter what route they go, the Chargers, they have necessities. No matter what route they go, it is going to benefit the team. No matter come draft day, as long as they don't make some stupid move and draft a quarterback, Chargers are going to turn out fine. And of course, as long as the prospect doesn't turn out to be a bust, no matter what route they go, I trust the process. I trust them going for Darrisaw to protect Herbert. And now you're looking at an offensive line that has Darrisaw, Ode Abushi, Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, and Brian Bulaga. That's a pretty revamped offensive line compared to what Herbert had last year, which he was dealt with worst or second worst offensive line. Or maybe they're going receiving core and saying, screw it, let's get the best receiving core in the NFL. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, emerging Jalen Guyton, Kellen Ballage, no, that's a running back that went to Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson, Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson. Their up-and-coming Kellen Ballage was a running back. He left to the Steelers. Jared Cook, Donald Parham, and now Devontae Smith. Or Jalen Waddle. This is a speedy-ass team that can go toe-to-toe with a Chiefs offensive powerhouse in receiving core. Or do they want to go defense, Brandon Staley route, and look at possibly becoming one of the better secondaries in the NFL? Healthy Derwin James, Chris Harris Jr., Michael Davis, J.C. Horn. That's a damn good secondary. Or Micah Parsons to help out Joey Bosa, help out Kenneth Murray Jr. Either way, Chargers fans, if they go best player available or go necessity, I trust the process. I trust Tom Telesco. And I do think they'll benefit and come out of this draft winning. They got multiple third-round picks. They have a decent amount of draft capital. And Tom Telesco, in the interview, has also entertained the idea of trading down. He said he's a bigger fan of trading down than trading up. So anything is possible. I'd love to see them possibly trade down and acquire even more draft capital. Maybe they'll trade, with the New England Patriots or Chicago Bears or Washington football team, a team that might be looking up to trade up for that last quarterback that's on the list. Or maybe they have their own eye on Christian Darrisaw and say, theoretically, Fairyland, a Indianapolis Colts want to trade with them and they want to trade up and take Christian Darrisaw. Yeah, they're taking the Chargers guy, but now the Chargers are able to get from the Colts a second or third round pick, and they could still get a Tevin Jenkins, a still high prospect dude, and even more draft capital. They're getting a guy that's almost on the same level as Darrisaw I do have Darisaw over Tevin Jenkins, but they still have the talent in Jenkins, and they now have even more capital to address the many holes they have. But no matter what route they go, like I said, this Chargers team, I think they're going to make the playoffs this year, but the draft will be a big impact. And of course, they could go out and draft the number 1 tackle. They could somehow, Penei Sewell falls, and he pans out to be great. If Brandon Staley doesn't click with the Chargers, it's going to be an issue. Justin Herbert with Anthony Lynn, Phillip Rivers with Anthony Lynn, you can only come so far when your coach holds you back. Not to say Brandon Staley I think he'll be a great click for the Chargers, but a lot of things have to fall into the Chargers' play, into the Chargers' favor this year for them to make the playoff push. Brandon Staley has to be a hit. Justin Herbert has to stay what he is. No injuries. That is a big issue for the Chargers. We need a healthy Derwin James. We need a healthy Joey Bosa. We need a healthy Keenan Allen, a healthy Mike Williams. And we need a good prospect out of this first round. A couple things need to go their way and go in their favor. But I trust the Chargers, and I think it'll happen. I got them making a wild card spot this next year. But like I said, guys, comment down below your thoughts and who you want to see them take in the mid to late rounds. We know who we have our eye on in first round, but second, third rounds, who do you want to see those Chargers go after? Comment down below. And of course, comment your thoughts on the video. Do you agree with me, disagree, agree with Tom Telesco, whatever your thoughts are? I want to hear from you Chargers fans. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. You know we love you guys. 2-minute warning.